cut flowers today, and I got my zinnias in finally. We've been selling, this was all garlic, and we were wanting to use it for some dried garlic braids in the fall, and we wound up just really needing to get the zinnias in, so we started pulling up garlic. We sold it to a local restaurant as green garlic, and now our garlic is finished bulbing up. Got some good size on it, so we're just gonna go ahead and pull these up. They should go a little bit longer, but we really need the space for sunflowers, so they're gonna come up. We'll experiment with drying them and braiding them. So it'll be a good little experiment. So in this patch, this is where we had the garlic. We have not weeded this since the fall. There's a little bit of grass down here, but really, there's no weeds. And it's just from doing this really, really thick mulch of leaves. And then the garlic helps shade it out too. So I'm just gonna plant the sunflowers in these 3 rows where the garlic were. I'm doing 2 varieties, Procut Excel, Procut Orange Excel, and Double Quick. So that way I can kind of mix them together. But really the main reason for starting 2 varieties at the same time is they have different maturities. So I'll start cutting on one the first week, and then the second one the second week. And then I'm starting these 2 varieties every 2 weeks. So that way I get 50 bunches of sunflowers every single week of the summer is the goal. Flowers look like, so I do transplant because I do need to maximize my space. I don't want to sow seeds and then they not come up. So these are really easy to transplant. And they do fine to transplant. So one of the things I like to do is I remove the first 4 plugs, and then you can actually carry the liner without the tray. And then that's really helpful, especially if you're dropping like cabbages. You can just hold them by your side and then drop the cabbages into place. Because I'm working backwards, I'm dragging these on the ground. And so actually having the liner underneath them is pretty helpful. So I'm just working backwards along this line. It's pretty easy because I already know where the line is, because it's just where the garlic was that I just pulled up. So this is our zinnia and sunflower patch. These are all our beautiful sunflowers. These got planted only 2 weeks ago, and they have really filled in really quickly. This whole area not really weeded since October of last year. We did a heavy mulch of leaves, and we used the chickens to compost this area and clear out weeds the season before, so it's been pretty weed free. So here are the sunflowers. Got a little bit of grasshopper damage, but not bad. The heads are starting to form. They're looking good. I transplanted these 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, they were little plants, and now they're this big already. About 2.5 feet tall. Yeah, so these got planted, I guess, just shy of 4 weeks ago. And this is how big they are already. It's huge. We're doing mixes of different flowers. So we're doing some that are a traditional sunflower yellow with a dark center, some that are white, some that are kind of a burgundy color with a black center, or white with a black center, white with a white center. And so that way they're just all a little bit different, and it keeps them really interesting. So I'm out in sunflowers, and it's been 50 days since I put these seeds into the cells. I transplanted them on day 6 or 7, and 50 days from the time that seed went into that package, we have blooms. So right now I am about to start harvesting, and I'm looking for kind of this level of development. I'm looking for flowers that are intact. There's nothing eaten on them. They're not missing petals, but that their petals are straight out. That way, once they go in the cooler, they can live there for a few days until they're ready to be sold, and then they'll still last like at least a week once the final customer gets them. So that's a really good size right there. I personally like smaller sunflowers. And the reason for that is because, for most home You know, customers that would be taking these home, you know, this is 5, I'll probably do 7 in the bundle. I'll end up doing 7. That sits up well in a tall vase. If you have the big, massive, you know, 12-inch wide sunflowers, at the most you could put 3 in a vase, and that's just a little much. The vase could fall over. You only get 3 flowers versus like a lot of different heads that look a little bit different. You know, once one of those flowers starts to not look as good, you pull it out and you only have 2 big old giant sunflowers. So I prefer these smaller flowers, which is why I planted these pretty tight together. Also, I'm just trying to maximize my space. But planting them smaller together produces a smaller head, and that's what I was going after, so it worked out well. I probably would space them a little bit further apart. I did 4 inches, I'd probably do 6 inches. Get them a little bit bigger. But otherwise, like, I really like that I did it this way. I can still, you know, reach all the way to the middle to get them. I kind of did them in a big block to where I could reach them to the middle. I'm putting them in a taller bucket than what I normally use. So usually I'm using these floral buckets for like our zinnias and things like that. And we actually had these white buckets right here. It's like a 4-gallon white bucket. For when we make our elderberries, it's what our fresh, certified organic Arkansas elderberries come in from our supplier. And so we have them on hand, but they work really well for the sunflowers because they're taller, and that way the sunflowers don't fall over. The next thing I'm gonna have when I harvest is a pair of snips, and I'm cleaning everything. So like I'm using soap, detergent to clean everything. It just keeps the bacteria down so that whenever you do put the flowers in the water, the bacteria and stuff aren't causing them to go bad a little too early. And so I like to build my bundles as I go for sunflowers. So I'll have rubber bands on one hand, my snips in the other, and I'll usually kind of tuck them underneath my arm as I go. One of the things I found that's been super helpful for doing sunflowers pretty quick is to strip the flowers from the stem while it's still attached to the plant. And so I'm gonna try and do this one-handed just so you can see. But I like to keep the top 2 or 3 leaves, and then I take off the next 3 or 4, leaving a stem that's like about 24 inches long. So all I do is I just take my hand, and you can use gloves since sunflowers are a little pokey, and I just do that really quick. I just slam my hand down the bottom of the stem, and then that way I got the stems already ready to go. So I've ripped off the stems, grabbed the stalk, I just slid my hand down about 2 feet, and then all I have to do is cut, and I just try and cut at an angle. It's not as important at this stage because you can always clean it up later. Like you could cut flat and then do a sharp angle. That sharp angle is gonna help the stem pull in more water. So I cut, oh, I was gonna try and catch it at the same time. Oh, I missed it. So I'll recut those. Now that they've touched the soil, I just want them to be clean. So one thing to be aware of is the flowers are going to be at different stages. So these were cut yesterday, these were cut today. You can see how these are more open already than these. So as I'm building the bouquets, I'm finding the ones that are most open and putting them together. And then that way those get put out at the farm stand first. The ones that are closed will get put out later in the week until the next round of flowers get there. And that way they're always just at this stage. The customer can see that they're open and that they're a pretty color, but they still have a week or even 10 days of life left to them before they start to kind of decline. So that's our sunflowers. Flowers bundled. Here is what a bouquet looks like. So it's 7 blooms. So wholesale or retail are still really profitable for flowers. Our space in the backyard is maybe, I don't know, 12 feet by 18 feet. And we could probably get
between 150 and 200 bucks from that space for each planting of sunflowers. So if you take that 12-foot by 18-foot space and you're doing it every 2 weeks, that's between 300 and 400 bucks a month just from sunflowers. That doesn't include any of the other flowers. So there's some great potential with sunflowers. People really like them, especially once our other flowers start, other sunflowers, varieties of sunflowers start to bloom and we get all the purples and fully double and the white. Like, those are just really interesting. So even if someone still has some of these, the next week the sunflower that's available is the white, and maybe they want to get that variety. Even though they're both sunflowers, it kind of helps keep it interesting and keeps people interested in buying flowers all summer. So there's our Excel. We bought the seeds from Johnny Seeds. I'm not sure who the breeder is, but it's a Procut sunflower. It's a single cut. I like to leave the stalks in place. They help hold up the other flowers. And then once all the flowers have been harvested, then I can take out the stalks. And they actually make really good like compost aerators. So if you take that stalk and you pile them up and put the compost around it, as that stalk hollows out, it helps take compost or air, oxygen to the center of the compost pile and keeps that process trucking along. So if you are thinking about growing sunflowers, there's still so much time left in the season to get some started. These are 50 days from the time we put the seeds in the ground to the times we harvested. So about a month and a half and you got sunflowers. We are still starting seeds every 2 weeks, 2 varieties that ripen or produce a week apart. So the goal is to have, maybe, 40 bouquets a week, every week through the rest of the production season. So there's still time. If you have any questions, please leave comments down below, questions down below, and thanks for watching.